Hey guys, it's Miss Hernandez. As you probably knew or not, I don't know how many of you are actually following my videos. I didn't get to do a video for Friday. I was going to try and upload it during the weekend, but I had a lot, of schoolwork and then applications during the weekend and today, so that's why today's video is coming out later than I would usually like to post it. I try recording around 3, and it takes a while to upload. So then I try to upload it by 5, but sometimes, stuff makes it a little more difficult to do that. But I'll still keep trying to do these videos no matter what, guys. Even if they come out late, I'm so sorry that they do sometimes, but for the most part, I'll try to make sure that these come out on time. You might hear some crying in the background because my niece is getting a little fussy, and you might hear some crying at the door later from my dog because she wants to come back in the room. She didn't want to be in here at first, so she left. Anyway, so just, again, volume warning in the background for my family. We are still reading Onward from Disney and Pixar. If this video comes out backwards, like you can't read the words right, I'll fix it. So don't worry if you can't see it, guys. You will by the time this goes up. So last we read was chapter 8, so we're on chapter 9 today. Ian and Barley set out to the Manticore Tavern to retrieve the map from the Manticore. It turns out that she was not allowing them because she said it's too dangerous and that this is a different era. There's no reason to go on adventures anymore. And after Ian had a talk with her, she kind of changed her point of view, but she realized that she changed from being an adventurer to a tame Manticore with a kids restaurant. So she burned down the restaurant, and as it was burning down, Barley grabbed one of the kids' menus, which had a map on it, and they're using that to take them to the Phoenix Gem. They didn't get the actual map, but they got one similar to it. So as they are doing that, Laurel, their mother, is following behind them, trying to catch up with them to stop them from going on this adventure. And there is some foreshadowing that they had in one of the chapters about a curse. So I can't wait to see what that curse is, what's going to happen with that curse. I hope you guys have some predictions about that. And we're going to go ahead and start reading with chapter 9 of Onward from Disney and Pixar. So let's go to chapter 9. There's like about 18 chapters here, and one of them is one after that. There's an epilogue, I believe. So that's going to be interesting to read later on. And there's the few pictures that I was talking to you guys about last time. It's on chapter 13. So we're coming up slowly to that. Right, so here is chapter 9. And we're going to read that now. Okay. As Barley drove, Ian sat next to Dad in the back of the van, looking down at the list he had made. He knew time was ticking away, and as he thought about it, a heavy realization washed over him. Barley, we're not going to be able to get Dad back in time to see Mom. Silence fell. Ian was right, and there was nothing they could do to change it. Well, Dad, at least he won't have to meet the new guy, said Barley, finding the bright side. Then he put his finger up to his face for a pretend mustache and did his best Colt impression. So, you working hard or hardly working? He let out a loud, horsey chuckle. Ian laughed. Barley, Barley, Barley. Every time there's trouble, I gotta deal with you. He cracked a proud smile at his performance. Is that your Colt? Said Barley in disbelief. Yeah, said Ian, laughing. You're gonna want to work on that. Suddenly the van began to sputter. Barley pulled off the expressway. No, 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 no! Come on, old girl! The engine wheezed one last time and the tires rolled a few more inches before the van came to a complete stop on the side of the road. I thought he said he fixed the van, said Ian with a groan. Relax, Guinevere's fine. Her stomach is just a little empty. Oh, sorry. Okay. Ian glanced over at the gas gauge to see the needle firmly pointing to full. But it says we have a full tank. Barley looked at Ian like he was crazy. Oh, that doesn't work. He climbed out, walked to the back of the van, and pulled out a gas can. Ian watched as Barley shook the can. A tiny splash of gasoline sloshed around the bottom. Only a few drops left. Maybe there's a gas station. Barley climbed on top of the van and looked around, but there was nothing in sight. Ian groaned. Then he saw the staff. Is there a magic way to get gas? Barley gasped. Oh, I like your thinking, young mage. He stumbled and fell to the floor. He popped back up, holding out the guidebook, which showed an illustration of a wizard growing an apple to 5 times its size. Growth spell. We grow the can, and then the gas inside will grow with it. That's kind of a weird idea, said Ian. I know. I like it too. Ian muttered to himself as he held the staff. Okay, loosen up. Heart's fire. Here we go. Whoa, it's not that simple, said Barley, swaggering over to Ian. He turned to Dad and added, this one learns a little magic and thinks he's a Shamblefoot the Wondrous. Am I right, Dad? Barley didn't notice as Ian shot him an annoyed glance. A growth spell is a bit more advanced, Barley explained. Not only do you have to speak from your heart's fire, but now you also have to follow a magic decree. A magic what? Barley held up the open book. It's a special rule that keeps the spell working right. This one states, to magnify an object, you have to magnify your attention on it. While you cast the spell, you can't let anything distract you. He placed the nearly empty gas can on the ground. Ian stepped up and pointed the staff. Okay, he took a deep breath. Ow! What? Splinter, said Ian, shaking his finger. Can we send this thing down? No, said Barley, incredulous. It's an ancient staff with magic in every glorious fiber. You can't sand it down. All right. Here we go, said Ian. Focus. He held out the staff. Hold up, guys. I'm gonna get her out. All right. Here we go, said Ian. Focus. He held out the staff. Barley interrupted. Ian frowned. Something wrong? Sorry, it's just your stance is, Barley couldn't help intervening. He stood behind Ian and wrapped his arms around him like he was showing him how to hold a golf club. He stood uncomfortably close as he maneuvered Ian's body, twisting it into an awkward pose. Chin up, elbows out, feet apart, back slightly arched. Okay, how's that feel? Great, said Ian, straining to hold the position. Oh, one more thing. Ian took a deep, frustrated breath, his patience wearing thin. Barley touched his elbow, raising it another inch. Then he stepped back for a moment before adjusting it a tad more. Ian shot him a look and Barley moved away. Finally, Ian read the spell aloud. Magnora Grantuin. The staff lifted up and sparks flew. He winced, but did his best to stay focused. Then the can began to throb. Don't let the magic spook you, whispered Barley. Okay, said Ian, wishing his brother would stop talking. Elbows, called Barley. What? Elbows up. Ian lifted his elbows as high as possible. No, too high, that's too high, said Barley. I'm trying to focus here, exclaimed Ian. Yeah, focus on the can. Ian tried with all his might to focus as the spell continued to throw sparks at him. And then the can began to grow. Excited, Barley whispered encouragement. Focus! Barley, shouted Ian, frustrated. Forget it. Ian lost his concentration and the spell spluttered out, returning the gas can to its original size. He sighed. It worked. The can is huge, said Barley in a squeaky voice. Ian looked down to see that Barley was tiny. His brother was about the size of a small water bottle. And the van is huge, continued Barley. He looked up at Ian. And you're... Then it suddenly dawned on him. Oh no! What happened? Asked Ian. Looks like you shrunk me. So that was the end of chapter 9. So it looks like they're trying to get gas and he accidentally shook his brother by accident. I wonder how they're going to fix that. We'll see you in chapter 10. Tiny Barley walked over to the Quest of Your book and gestured to the picture on the page he'd left open. If you messed up a spell, there are consequences. I only messed up because you wouldn't stop bothering me, said Ian. I was trying to help you. Well, don't try to help me. Oh, okay, fine, I won't. As they argued, Dad tapped Ian's foot, then searched for Barley. He tapped Barley's head. Whoa, Dad, it's me, said Barley. He returned the taps on Dad's foot. Dad's feet moved wildly as he realized Barley's size. Ian tried to calm him down. Whoa, Dad, it's okay. Don't worry. I'm going to fix this. He grabbed Dad's leash, picked up the empty gas can, and headed off in search of a gas station. Barley insisted on going along, but refused to let Ian carry him. He had to run to keep up, and it wasn't long before he was out of breath. I just need a little break. My baby legs can't go that fast. Ian walked back and picked up Barley by the back of his shirt. Barley kicked his feet, struggling, then suddenly stopped when he saw gas station lights up ahead. He pointed them out to Ian. Oh, wait, I forgot, said Barley, trying to turn away. You don't need my help. He crossed his arms in defiance. Ian dropped Barley into his front pocket and continued on. Hey, I don't need you to carry me, exclaimed Barley. I'm a grown man. When they reached the gas station, loud motorcycles pulled in, parked in front of the entrance. Ian squinted, trying to make out who or what was on those bikes. Suddenly, a sprite in a leather jacket appeared, followed by other sprites. Several of them had been working together to drive each motorcycle. They were part of a motorcycle club called the Pixie Dusters. Ian stood back and watched as they sauntered through the door of the store. An elf sipping a fruity frozen drink accidentally bumped into a sprite named Dewdrop. Hey, did you just bump into me? She demanded. The elf stammered as he tried to apologize. Do it again and you'll see me in your nightmares. The elf's drink slipped out of his hand and splattered on the ground as he hurried off. Ian waited until all the sprites had gone into the store. Then he took a deep breath and slowly walked toward the entrance, leading Dad by the leash. Inside, the sprites seemed to be everywhere. Some climbed the shelves, throwing items down to their friends, and others filled cups with soda or purchased candy. 10 on pump 2, please, whispered Ian, stepping up to the clerk. Barley leaned out of Ian's pocket and reached for a bag of snacks on the counter, knocking the entire rack to the floor. What are you doing? Said Ian. His eyes darted around as he quickly cleaned up the mess. He wanted to get out before the sprites noticed him. I'm getting his food, explained Barley. All right, I got it. And a couple of these, thank you, Ian said to the clerk, placing a couple of bags on the counter. Barley tugged at Ian's shirt and told him he had to go to the bathroom. Can it wait? Asked Ian, irritated. It's your pocket, said Barley. Ian sighed and got the bathroom key from the clerk. It dangled from an old license plate and was so heavy for tiny Barley that he had to carry it over his head, like this. When he moved toward the bathroom, Dad searched with his foot and just missed stepping on him. As Ian paid the cashier, Dad continued to search and accidentally tapped one of the sprites on the head. So, just a reminder, the dad actually has a fake upper torso, which is like a vest, like kind of jacket situation with like a hat and glasses. Hey, watch it, said the sprite. Dewdrop hopped onto a shelf and grabbed Dad by the shirt collar. You got a problem, Shades? She said, staring into his sunglasses. Unable to respond, Dad appeared to simply stare back. Answer me when I'm talking to you. Ian was terrified to see Dewdrop leaning aggressively into Dad. Sorry, he said. I don't really know where his head is right now. He quickly pulled Dad toward the exit. Okay. Meanwhile, Laurel continued down the road with the right side of her car dragging from the weight of the Manticore, who was crammed into the passenger seat. So it looks like we're seeing what the mom's doing right now. You know, I would fly us to help your boys, but the old wings aren't what they used to be, said the Manticore. Oh, that's fine, said Laurel. So about this curse, the Manticore wriggled the rings. It's my own fault. I should be doing my wing exercises every morning, but you know how that goes. Please, the curse, said Laurel, frustrated. What does it do? Right. Sorry, it's a guardian curse. If your boys take the gym, the curse will rise up. The Manticore lifted her sleeve to reveal an armful of tattoos, and she pointed to an image of a red mist, and assumed the form of a mighty beast. Another tattoo illustrated the mist, pressing rocks and trees together to form a ferocious beast. It will batter your sons to the... She caught herself and looked up at Laurel. Well, how do your boys do in crisis? Not great, said Laurel, worried. One of them is afraid of everything, and the other isn't afraid of anything. Yeah, that skinny kid of yours is pretty fearless, said the Manticore. No, you mean the big one, Barley. No, the little guy. Whew, he really let me have it. Laurel was confused, but shook it off. What? No, look, you said you could help them, right? The Manticore pointed to a tattoo showing a dark circle in the heart of one of the beasts. Every curse has a core, the center of its power, she said, and only one weapon forged of the rarest metals can destroy it, my enchanted sword. She showed Laurel another tattoo of a glowing sword. The words on it read, the Curse Crusher. Okay, but you don't seem to have that on you, said Laurel. The Manticore looked at Laurel with her eyes full of regret. I sold it. Got in a little tax trouble a few years back, but don't worry, I know just where to find it. Laurel nodded, determined. I'm on my way, boys, she said aloud. Just try to stay out of trouble. Ian finished pumping gas into the can and nervously looked around, eager for Barley to return from the bathroom. He suddenly heard a small, angry voice in the distance. Who are you calling whimsical? Ian turned to see Barley standing between two sprites. You got a lot of nerve, said Dewdrop. I'm just saying sprites used to fly around spreading delight, said Barley. That's a good thing. Sprites can't fly. Well, your wings don't work because you stopped using them. You calling me lazy? Said Dewdrop. She sucked down what was left of a sparkle stick and hurled it to the ground. No, not you. Your ancestors. What did you say about my ancestors? Dewdrop said, puffing out her chest. I didn't mean lazy, said Barley. Ian reached down and plucked Barley from the scene. I'm sorry, he said, looking down at the sprites. Very sorry. He's sorry, too. You don't need to fly. Who needs to fly? I mean, you've got those great bikes. What are you doing? Said Barley. I was just discussing history. Barley, I'm trying to take care of you and Dad, and you're not making it easier, said Ian, struggling with the leash. Dad, come on. Dad had wandered to the other side of the line of parked motorcycles. As Ian tugged on the leash, Dad crashed into one of the bikes. It fell against the next bike, and one by one, they fell like dominoes, blocking the gas station door. Ian gasped. The rest of the motorcycle club, now locked inside, furiously slammed into the glass door, eager to get out and attack. Hey, you're dead, Dewdrop screamed. With Barley in his pocket and Dad on the leash, Ian raced away as fast as he could. We're dead, he chanted as he picked up speed. When he reached the van, he frantically filled the tank with gasoline. Relax, they won't be able to lift those bikes, said Barley. The sudden roar of motorcycle engines sounded, and Barley's face fell. Oh, they are strong. We're gonna die, repeated Ian. They tried to open the door, but the van was locked. What? Where are the keys? Barley looked through the window, to see the keys dangling from the ignition. Motorcycle headlights appeared in the distance. I got this, said Barley. He slid his body through the cracked window and managed to lift the lock. Ian threw the gas can into the van, put Dad in, and slammed the door. He climbed in the passenger seat. Okay, go! Then he looked over at Barley, tiny and useless in the driver's seat, and realized he had to drive. No way. You're gonna have to, said Barley. Ian moved Barley and slid over into the driver's seat. With his whole body tense, Ian methodically adjusted the seat and mirrors. He could see the motorcycles coming around the corner in the rearview mirror. He turned the key, but nothing happened. Don't turn it all the way, explained Barley. There's a sweet spot. Not in the middle, but not quite at the end. Ian wiggled and jiggled the stubborn key. Come on, he said, straining. Come on, Guinevere! And that's the end of chapter 10. Oh, so it looks like they're getting into some major trouble, not only with those bikers, but if they end up, making that curse happen that the Manticore explained, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. So, let's see what happens in chapter 11. This is the last chapter for today, guys. So, chapter 11. Let's see what happens. As if responding to Ian's begging, the van sputtered to life, jostling him around. Driving Guinevere was like riding a bucking bull. Put in O for Onward, urged Barley. Oh, they said Onward like the book. That's funny. Ian wrapped his hand around the screwdriver. jutting out from behind the steering wheel and pulled it down to the handwritten O. He slammed his foot on the gas, and the van lurched forward just as a sprite broke the driver's side window using a spiked flail. Ooh, that's scary. So, like a flail, it's like a little wooden stick that has a chain and a spiky ball at the end of it. So you can, hit stuff with that. That could have hurt if it hit them. Ian screamed and ducked as shards of glass rained into the van. "Drive," said Barley. Ian turned the wheel hard, and as the sprites sped forward, he cut them off. Their bikes screeched as they swerved to avoid a collision. Ian managed to get further ahead of them, soon approached the expressway on the ramp. The road roared with the sound of speeding cars. Ian cautiously pressed his foot on the gas pedal. After a small car had passed, a huge freight truck barreled up. "Speed up," urged Barley. The ramp was about to end. Ian held the wheel tight, sweat pouring from his brow. "I can't do this." "Yes, you can." "I'm not ready." "You'll never be ready. Merge." Ian screamed as he stomped on the gas, sending Dad flying to the back of the van. Ian cut off the huge truck, barely missing its front bumper just as the ramp ended. Once they were safe within the speeding traffic, Barley sighed and laughed, relieved. "Nice job." Ian glanced in the rearview mirror. The motorcycles had caught up and were right behind them. One of the sprites swung a flail above his head before releasing it, smacking the side of the van. So he went like that. Barley leapt up to the window. "Hey, don't hit, Gwynnie," he yelled to the sprites. Ian swerved as he grabbed Barley and put him back in the seat. He gasped when he found himself behind a slow-moving car. Seeing their moment, the pixie dusters roared up behind them again. Barley jumped onto Ian's shoulder, directing him. "Get around him." Ian started to turn into the left lane. "They're not letting me in." "Signal," said Barley. "You don't have a signal, said Ian, frantically searching for it. "Stick your arm straight out the window to signal left," instructed Barley. Ian held his arm out the window, and a sprite wrapped a chain around it, forcing him to drive with one hand. With great effort, he turned the wheel to move into the left lane. Barley carefully climbed out onto Ian's arm. "Get back here," cried Ian. "Just keep driving," said Barley, trying to untangle the chain. The sprites cheered as they revved their motorcycles. Barley managed to get the chain off, and it recoiled, knocking a bunch of the shocked sprites off their bike. Ian looked ahead and saw the expressway splitting into north and south. Barley crawled back onto Ian's shoulder. "The mountains are north. You need to get all the way over." I'm letting her in. Sorry, guys. Okay. Barley crawled back onto Ian's shoulder. "The mountains are north. You need to get all the way over." Dewdrop spotted Dad's top half flapping out the window in the wind. The stuffed arm looked like he was shaking a fist. She narrowed her eyes. "Oh, it's on, Shades." Dewdrop and her crew gunned their motorcycle. "Get him!" The bike pulled up alongside Ian's open window, and a few sprites leapt in. They screamed as they began attacking Ian and Dad, punching, pinching, and pulling at them. One of the sprites tackled Barley, and they hit the dashboard next to a warrior bobblehead. Barley pulled the sword from the bobblehead and brandished it at his foe. Soon Ian had sprites all over his face. Unable to see, he steered the van right into the guardrail. Barley and the sprite he was battling were thrown from the dashboard onto the passenger seat. "Ian, stay focused," said Barley. "I can't," shouted Ian. "You have to focus or we're all dead," said Barley. "Just stay cool." Barley's words gave Ian an idea. He frantically felt around the control panel and flicked on the air conditioning. Powerful air blasted out of the vents, blowing all the sprites right out the windows. Barley saved himself by clinging on to the seat belt. "Way to go, Guinevere," he cheered as his body flapped in the breeze. But he suddenly lost his grip and flew out the window too. Without missing a beat, Ian stuck his hand out and caught him. Then he switched off the AC. They were very close to the exit. "We're gonna make it!" cried Barley. Refusing to back it down, Ian smoothly crossed several lanes of traffic, just making it onto the ramp to head north. The van hurtled toward a wall, and a tire hit the edge. Guinevere was airborne for a brief moment before crashing back down to the ground. The sprites were right on Ian's tail and couldn't steer away from the wall in time. They screamed as they crashed into it. Ian watched in the rearview mirror as they were thrown off their bikes into the air. Suddenly, their wings began to flap. They were flying. Tiny Barley was perched on Ian's shoulder, celebrating their victory as Ian continued to drive. Ian leaned toward the back and asked Dad if he was okay. Barley smiled. He's fine, thanks to the skillful driving of Sir Ian Lightfoot. High five! He raised his tiny hand to slap Ian's, but it bulged to a full size just then and slammed onto the roof of the van. I think this bell's wearing off, said Barley. Then his torso expanded to full size on Ian's shoulder, causing Ian to swerve. Cars honked as the van veered all over the road. Get off my face, Ian shouted. Barley's right leg expanded. His foot reached the floor and slammed the gas pedal. The van flew forward and slid into the side of the road, sputtering across the dirt. The back door popped open. Ian didn't realize he'd zipped past a hidden police car. The officer instantly fired up the lights and sirens and peeled after the van. Ooh, that's crazy. All right, that was the end of chapter 11, guys. So it looks like they barely kind of started this, adventure. I assume it's probably, let's think, 6-7 hours in maybe that they've been doing this adventure, and they've already caused the Manticore to burn down her tavern, and they caused a motorcycle gang of sprites to chase them down on the highway. So they're already getting themselves into some pretty crazy antics and misadventures, I would say. So let's see what else happens right now. I mean, they said that there is a police car that starts chasing them. So I wonder, who do you think that police, person might be? Do you think it's going to be Colt or maybe someone else? Because their mom's boyfriend, Colt, is a police officer. Well, we'll see. So looks like we know more about that curse than we did earlier in the last video. So we'll see how soon that curse happens, if it happens at all, and we'll see what kind of madness will come from that. So yeah, the videos are going to be longer from now on, guys. I can see it's about 27 minutes so far. So the videos are most likely going to be around that time for the rest of our time reading, because we're going to be reading 3 chapters instead of 2. So again, I'll be reading Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I will try my best to stick to that schedule. So I will see you guys on Wednesday, and we will still keep reading Onward from Disney and Pixar. I hope you guys are enjoying the book just as much as I am. I hope you guys are doing great. I hope you guys are taking care of yourselves, and I will see you next time. Bye.